Are you a fan of the classic Firebird muscle car? Rumors have been circulating that the iconic vehicle could make a comeback in the near future. In this video, we'll explore the possibility of the Firebird's return and take a look at what we know so far. We'll examine the history of the Firebird, its past successes, and what it would take for the car to return to the market. We'll also take a look at the current market trends and if the Firebird would be able to compete with current sports cars. Join us as we dive into the speculation and hope of the Firebird's return. The Firebird was a beloved car in the 60s and 70s, known for its iconic design and powerful performance. But what would the competition look like for the Firebird if it were to return to the market? First on our list is the Chevrolet Camaro. The Camaro has been a longtime rival of the Firebird, kind of like how the Yankees and the Red Sox are rivals in baseball. If the Firebird were to return, it would likely compete with the Camaro for sales. And we all know how important it is to have bragging rights when it comes to muscle cars. Next is the Ford Mustang. The Mustang is one of the most iconic American sports cars and has been in production since 1964. Like the Firebird, it's a classic muscle car and they have a long rivalry. It's like trying to choose between Apple and Samsung. Both have their own fan base and both are great, but you can only choose one. Another classic muscle car that could be in competition for the Firebird is the Dodge Challenger. The Challenger has been in production since 2008 and is considered a direct competitor of the Mustang and Camaro. It's like the wild card in this competition. It might not be as popular as the others, but it's still a strong contender. Luckily for the potential of the new screaming chicken, the Dodge Challenger is said to be phased out after the 2023 model year. While that would be fantastic news for the would-be Firebird, it comes with a caveat. Dodge is keen to enter the electric market in a big way in the next few years, and to do so, they will need to come out swinging with an electric sports car. They've already debuted the Dodge Charger Banshee, an all-electric muscle car that's going to bring some serious power to the streets. We could spend more time telling you about the Banshee, but in this video, it's about the almighty Firebird and its potential triumphant return. When they brought the Camaro back, Chevrolet opted for something that harkened back to the original 60s Camaro in terms of looks and design. But a decade on, cars have gotten sleeker, more aerodynamic, and built to have less drag coefficient in terms of their design. So likely GM would want to adopt something that was based more around the 70s or even 90s design of their big bad bird. Further, with muscle cars being increasingly threatened by environmental safety standards and a shift in public attitude, were they to bring back the Firebird and have a go at making some money, they would likely need to adopt and build a design that was geared toward hybrid or electric powertrains and engines. That's right, you could be looking at the E-Bird. Rumors were flying around about Dodge and its foray into electric sports muscle cars when it was revealed in 2022. The numbers were pretty crazy for what they had in mind. The 800-volt Banshee propulsion system is rumored to have up to 1,050 horsepower, all-wheel drive (AWD), and a new Erupt multi-speed transmission with electromechanical shifting that delivers distinctive shift points. These numbers have helped propel the Banshee to quick internet stardom with a lot of positive press, and the Banshee is also rumored to be featured in the upcoming Fast 10. If a new General Motors Firebird wanted to make a scene and get attention, it had better find some similar numbers to post. So what kind of options and power would a new Firebird have if it were to hit the road again? Let's start with the power. A new Firebird would have to have a powerful engine with a high horsepower and torque. It could have a V8 engine, as well as the option for a hybrid or electric powertrain to appeal to the eco-conscious buyers. Because let's face it, who doesn't love a muscle car that's also good for the environment? Next, technology. A new Firebird would have to have all the bells and whistles, a touchscreen infotainment system, navigation, and a variety of driver assistance features, such as lane departure warning, automatic emergency braking, a rear-view camera. It's like having a personal assistant in your car. Design. A new Firebird would have to be a sleek, sporty design that is inspired by the classic Firebird, but updated for the modern era. It would have a low aerodynamic profile and aggressive styling. It's like putting a suit on a lion. Safety. A new Firebird would have to have a variety of advanced safety features such as airbags, stability control, and advanced braking systems to protect passengers in the event of an accident. It's like having a bodyguard in your car. Performance. A new Firebird would have to have a high-performance suspension, braking and steering systems, as well as a variety of performance-enhancing options, such as larger tires and wheels, a sports-tuned exhaust, and high-performance brakes. It's like having a personal trainer in your car. In recent years, a few specialty shops have built new Firebirds out of existing Chevrolet Camaro powertrains and bodies. They even utilize one of the most iconic names in Firebird's history, the Bandit. If General Motors wanted to get people's attention, they could definitely look toward naming their new Firebird the Bandit. If they wanted a real chance at bringing the car to market, General Motors would likely have to adopt an environmentally friendly concept for their new car. Bringing back a straight muscle car to compete with the ones that already exist is sadly a non-starter in today's market and social climate. You may disagree with that, and that would be fine, but if the car wants to get any traction, it's got to have the right tires and trim and engine. And you get the idea. Chevrolet is already rumored to be working on an electric version of the iconic Corvette. Dodge, as mentioned, has its Banshee and is killing the Challenger despite being number 2 in muscle car sales. The chances are slim to zero that General Motors would take the time and risk to bring back this iconic nameplate and stick it to a gas-guzzling V8 at 10 mpgs. Maybe they could just slap the name on a crossover utility vehicle and call it a day? Yuck, we certainly hope not. As we know, the car industry is always changing and evolving, and manufacturers are constantly looking for ways to stay relevant and appeal to consumers. So the question is, could GM be considering bringing back the Firebird? And if so, what would be the reasons behind this decision? First and foremost, popular demand plays a big role in this decision. The Firebird has a strong fan base, and many enthusiasts would love to see it return to market. It's like trying to find a needle in a haystack, but with a lot more passion. Brand recognition is another important factor. The Firebird is a well-known and iconic brand, and reintroducing it can help GM to tap into the nostalgia and brand recognition associated with the car. It's like seeing an old friend after a long time. Profit is also a big consideration. If GM believes that there is a profitable market for a new Firebird, they may consider bringing it back to boost sales and revenue. It's like a Business 101 class. The Firebird and Mustang were both popular muscle cars when they were produced and were direct rivals in the market. The Ford Mustang outsold the Pontiac Firebird consistently throughout most of the years both cars were produced. The Mustang was produced in 1964, and it quickly became a bestseller, while the Firebird was introduced in 1967. The Mustang had a head start and maintained a higher sales volume throughout the years, but the Firebird still had a significant portion of the market share, especially in the late 60s and early 70s. The Ford Mustang, Chevrolet Camaro, and Dodge Challenger are all iconic American muscle cars and have been rivals for decades. They are all produced by large American automakers, Ford, General Motors, GM, and FCA, Fiat Chrysler automobiles, respectively. And they have similar performance and pricing. According to sales reports, in 2019, Ford sold over 140,000 units of Mustang in the U.S., Chevrolet sold over 50,000 units of Camaro, and Dodge sold around 66,000 units of Challenger. In 2020, despite the global pandemic and economic turndown, Mustang sales still held strong, with over 121,000 units sold in the U.S., while Chevrolet sold around 45,000 units of the Camaro, and Dodge sold around 61,000 units of the Challenger. In 2021, Ford sold about 90,000 Mustang cars in the U.S., while Chevrolet sold around 38,000 units of the Camaro, and Dodge sold around 70,000 units of the Challenger. It's worth noting that the sales numbers of the Mustang, Camaro, and Challenger are influenced by many factors such as design, features, pricing, marketing strategies, and also the overall performance of the car makers in the market. Overall, the Mustang has consistently been the best-selling muscle car of the three in recent years. But both Challenger and Camaro continue to have a dedicated fan base and remain popular choices among American muscle car enthusiasts. So, while it may be hard to see a spot for the Firebird to fill, it could find its own niche audience that would help bring young, zillennial buyers into the dealership to look at what manufacturers had to offer. Market trends also play a big role. If the market trends indicate that there is a growing demand for muscle cars or performance vehicles, GM might consider reintroducing the Firebird to capitalize on this trend. It's like following the latest fashion trends. Lastly, if GMC's competitors such as Ford reintroduce their own muscle cars, they may consider reintroducing the Firebird to stay competitive in the market. So why would a car manufacturer not want to build a new muscle car right now? First and foremost, changing consumer preferences play a big role in this decision. With the growing concern from the environment and the push for more fuel-efficient vehicles, consumers are becoming less interested in gas-guzzling muscle cars. It's like trying to sell cassette tapes in the age of Spotify. Cost is another factor to consider. Developing a new muscle car can be a costly and time-consuming endeavor for a car manufacturer, and they may not see it as a profitable venture. It's like trying to make a blockbuster movie with a shoestring budget. Stringent emission regulations are also a concern for car manufacturers. Muscle cars typically require large engines, which can make it difficult to meet increasingly stringent emissions regulations in many countries. It's like trying to make a burger without meat. Oh, it's still a burger, but it's just not quite the same. Market saturation is another reason why manufacturers may not want to build a new muscle car. There are already a number of muscle cars available on the market, and manufacturers may see the market as being saturated, making it difficult for a new entrant to gain market share. It's like trying to sell ice in Antarctica. Lastly, manufacturers may have different priorities and may want to focus on other segments, such as electric vehicles, autonomous vehicles, or crossovers. It's like trying to get a teenager to listen to classical music. It's not impossible, it's just harder. It's important to note that these are just a few of the many factors that a car manufacturer would consider when making the decision to build a new muscle car. And ultimately, the decision would be based on a variety of factors that are specific to the company. But we can still dream and hope to see a new muscle car on the road soon. Car manufacturers know that there's a special place in our hearts for the classic cars, and they're taking advantage of that nostalgia by reintroducing some of the most iconic badges. It's like a time machine in car form. Let's start with Ford. They introduced the Bronco in 2021, more than 20 years after it was discontinued. The new Bronco is a modern take on the classic off-road SUV with updated styling and features, making it a perfect combination of nostalgia and modern technology. It's like your grandpa's old watch with smartwatch features. Chevrolet also got in on the action. They reintroduced the Blazer in 2019, more than a decade after it was discontinued. The new Blazer is a mid-size crossover SUV that shares some design elements with the classic Blazer. But it's a completely different vehicle. It's like a modern version of an old friend, but with better hygiene. Volkswagen also brought back one of their classics, the Beetle, in 2012, more than a decade after it was discontinued. The new Beetle is a modern take on the classic car with updated styling and features, and it's still as cute as ever, like a grown-up version of a ladybug. Land Rover also brought back one of its classics, the Defender, in 2020, more than 25 years after it was discontinued. The new Defender is a modern take on the classic off-road SUV with updated styling and features, and it's still as rugged as ever, like a bear in a tuxedo. Lastly, BMW reintroduced the Mini Cooper in 2001, more than 20 years after it was discontinued. The new Mini Cooper is a modern take on the classic car with updated styling and features. It's like a pocket-sized powerhouse. It's small, but mighty. Then you have the occasional misstep, like the Dodge Dart, where Dodge thought it would be a good idea to bring back a mid-size muscle car from the 70s and turn it into a four-door Dodge Neon comeback for the aught 10s. It ran its course in just 3 model years, and then Dodge sacked it due to slumping sales. So you can see the risk involved when invoking a classic badge name and slapping it on something that just doesn't fit. We can only hope they don't try to make a Firebird electronic station wagon. After all, Ford already tried that with the Mustang. Well folks, it's time to take the off-ramp for this video about the potential new Firebird. We hope you had as much fun watching it as we had making it. We explored the possibilities of what a new Firebird could look like if General Motors were to bring it back for today's market. And let's just say it would be a powerhouse of a car. With a powerful electric engine, advanced technology features, sleek and sporty design, advanced safety features, and high-performance options, it's a car that would even make Elon Musk jealous. But let's not get our hopes up too high. We all know it's just speculation. General Motors might have other plans, like creating a car that can fly or drive underwater. Who knows? But we can always dream and hope that one day we will see the Firebird back on the road, burning rubber and turning heads. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And we'll see you in the next video, where we might explore the possibilities of a flying car. Stay curious.